Hello everyone and welcome back to part 7 of the How to Draw a Horse in Coloured Pencil tutorial here on YouTube. I hope you're all doing really well, and if you've just stumbled upon this video and you want to go back to the beginning, I'll link part 1 down below for you. But for everyone else, let's just get started. Okay, so we're going to start on like this big bit of the cheek and face. So I'm just going to quickly use the Dark Sepia 175. Just want to add a bit more of an outline just to the side of the face, and then we can see where that is. It sort of like comes down from there and goes around like that. Might just bring it down a bit more. I like to just add my little guidelines in so I don't lose stuff. Okie dokie. And I might also just add a little one around that shadow there, really lightly. It's quite red toned, so don't want to make it too dark. Bit there. Bit there. Just so that I can see where those areas are before I go in and add more of the base colours. So that bit. So it comes down there a bit like that. I'm doing the tiniest little like broken lines, little taps with the pencil just so I can see where they are. I don't want to add too much. A little bit here. And a little bit here. And I might as well just do this bit. Don't know how far we'll get, but you never know, we might get that far. Bring that down there. That comes down there a little bit. And then there's that line there. Okay. Then let's use the warm grey one, 270. Gonna bring that over a load of the facial area. Gonna work in small sections still though. Right, I'm going to leave it there for now. We'll just focus on like this area to begin with. And it's really orange and warm, so let's use some burnt ochre 187. Just start to layer that up. Gonna go quite lightly, but then we can always add a bit more. Might just leave this bit a little bit lighter for now. We can always add a bit more, just so that I can see where that lighter part is. It's taken me a while to do this, but I'm just trying to make sure I've blended it in nicely. It's very soft, the Canson hot pressed watercolour paper, so you do have to like keep layering over and over again. I mean, you do with most papers anyway, to be honest, but especially this sort of like goes on really soft and almost watercoloury. So you do have to just keep going over it. Almost looks a bit faded. And blend a bit up there. But I also quite like that look because it's more effortless to get that soft sort of look, and I do tend to go for that sort of style with my drawings. Everyone has their own unique style and way that they like things. Some people like to have that sort of higher contrast, more liney, you know, not so soft look where it's a bit more contrasting. Don't know how to describe it. Bold colours and I don't know how to describe it, I'm just chatting rubbish. You probably know what I mean. Right, that will do for now. We'll just focus on that section. So let's use the burnt umber 280 and we'll start to add some brown. So I'm doing my teeny tiny little taps, little strokes to build it up. So here there's like this lighter bit, so I'm going to go around it and just also leave a little bit of a line, you know, like that bit there, just at the edge, so I'm not quite going right to the edge of that line we did. So I'm just going to take my time, build up this colour. Quite a big section really, so it's probably going to take a little while. But it'll look good, so it's all worth it. Yeah, I'm filming this video today. It's Friday, the day this video needs to go live, so I usually film it the day before. It gives me time, but I don't know, I wasn't in a filming mood yesterday. but I am today, so that's good. Been getting some bits ready for a Kenya trip. We're going to Kenya in 2 weeks with a group of people who, some of them are like our audience members. I'm doing it with another artist, Zoe Fitchett. Been chatting about it loads on like the vlogs and on Instagram and stuff, so I always just assume people know what I'm on about, but that's not always the case. So yeah, we're taking a group of travellers to Kenya to go on safari and do all sorts of stuff, so I've been getting ready for that trip. We're doing art workshops while we're out there, and I will be vlogging it all, so it's going to be on my YouTube channel. But yeah, we've got some stuff to get ready for it. Some prep to do, I've been doing that. So yeah, not far off ready for it now though. Feels like it's come round so quickly. Blending a bit more in. So just take your time, build it all up. Add a little bit into this lighter area, just to tone it down a bit. So add a little bit more to this bit here. Bring that line down a bit more. And I'm just going to start to add a little bit into this shadowy area too, and then we can sort of connect it all. I do like to do my darkest bits first and then connect the rest of it. Just be careful here because the fur sort of like takes a bit of a different shape. It sort of like comes around this bit and then it sort of like goes down a little bit and then back around. If you look really closely, you'll just see a slight movement of the fur direction. So just take your time. We want to make sure we get the contours right, otherwise it'll look a little bit off. And I'm just going to do a little bit, sort of like following this here, there's like a bit of a line of fur. Just going to add a bit more there. If at any point you feel like your hand's a bit stiff or sore from doing all these teeny tiny little lines, just have a rest, because you don't want to get any like repetitive strain injury in your hand. It is a very repetitive like way of drawing when you're doing short fur, and I find myself that I get a bit of a sore wrist and shoulder and stuff. So take breaks, come back to it, and just take your time. You don't need to rush and get it all done. Add a bit more here. A little bit there, another sort of little line coming down. If you look at the fur really close, there's almost little liney bits. Just trying to blend it all in a little bit better. Just going to focus on this section for now before we move on to this bit. Let's add some burnt sienna 283. We'll probably need a bit more burnt umber, but let's just get another colour down and then we can perfect it all. So just add in that red tone in there, doing my little tiny strokes, building up the red. This bit's really red, so I'm going to try and focus quite a lot of it here just by going over and over it. So I'm just looking for the red areas. It's quite red around here. Probably need a bit more of the burnt ochre as well soon. Just going to blend a bit of this in here. Just a bit here. Maybe a tiny bit just blended through that lighter part. Bit here. And then let's just add a bit more of that burnt ochre 187. There's a lot more orange around here. I want to just add a bit more. And I am just gonna shade it in really. A bit more there. If you find it's not blending in nice by just shading it, then just carry on with the little strokes, but I just find with some of the lighter colours you might as well just go in because they don't add much to the overall texture, whereas the darker colours, you need those to create the fur texture. It's a bit better. Okay, I'm going to add some dark sepia 175. We'll probably need to add a bit more burnt umber, but let's just get a little bit of this in and then we can blend it in with the burnt umber. That makes sense. So again, just layering that up. Tell you what, it is freezing today. If you're in the UK, you'll know what I mean, but it's suddenly just gone, like winter temperatures. It's so cold. But then you'll have the odd really warm day, so it's like you just don't know what to expect. It just feels like autumn's come round very suddenly this year. I've actually had the heating on a little bit this week, which is not good. It's a sign of things to come. At least I can get all cosy though and put like my hoodies and stuff on again. So just building this up. There's like a dark bit here as well. So again, I'm starting with the darkest bits and then we'll blend around them. So it blends into that bit there. I'm going to bring it down here a bit more. Bring it down these bits. Let's add a little bit in here. Let's add a little bit coming down here. Just want it to be really well blended. Bring a bit more down this slight line here. Join it up to the top. Okay, we're getting there. I just add a bit more around here. Blend that in a tad more. A little bit through here. Okay, let's use a bit more burnt umber 280 and just try and blend that in a bit better. It's looking a bit mucky. Needs a little bit more bringing together, so like here I'm just going to try and make it a bit more gradual. Pressing on a little bit harder. Just sharpened my pencil to try and get a really sharp point, and I think this will just help us to fill those little gaps in a bit better. You can get a bit more pigment sometimes with a sharper pencil too. Let's blend a bit more. Blend a bit more down. Blend a bit more up here, I think. Doing upward strokes just to round it off a little bit more. So yeah, it does feel like a lot of going over and over the same bits, but that is just coloured pencils to a T. That's what you've got to do to get this rich sort of shape and texture to it. Right, let's do a little bit of the Walnut Brown 177 and just get that slightly more purple tone for a bit of extra richness. I'm just adding it in here. I like it makes a big difference. Making sure it's really well blended in. Add a bit more up here. Definitely down here. Just going to add a bit more of the red tone, so the burnt sienna 283. Just going to, like, again, press a bit harder and just focus more of that in the red areas, so down here. Once you get to these like top layers, you can afford to apply that bit more pressure. And a bit more in here. Add a bit more here. Added quite a lot more of a richness to it. And I just blend a little bit more between these two darker sections. And a tiny bit more here. And I'm just going to add a bit of black 199 to really darken that up now. I feel like we just need that extra level of depth. So, starting on this really dark part, just layering it up. Again, I'm sort of using the very pointiest bit of the pencil and pressing a little bit harder so that I get a decent colour payoff. Bringing it down here, this light line here. Around here. Blend a bit more here. Just being careful now to be quite small with my strokes and just try and blend it really well. There we go. Let's add a bit more to blend that in. I'll add a bit more just here. Sometimes it feels like it's not really doing it, but then when you look back at it you can see like the clear definition and you can see where it's darker, but at the time it kind of feels like it's not doing a whole lot. So I'm going to add a bit more around here. Okay, let's now add a little bit more in this bit. And a little bit more here. Okie dokie. Let's now move on to this bit. So I might just add a bit more burnt ochre 187. Blend it in a little bit more. Tiny little bit over that lighter part. Okay, that'll do. Let's use the burnt umber 280 and start to just add some texture. So, just doing my teeny tiny strokes, and again I'm just looking for the darker areas. I might actually do this sort of line that comes down here. then it's sort of like, it's a bit darker around here and then it blends out lighter as you get here. It almost looks a little bit pink. Might add a tiny bit of that beige red 132 in there actually. Just before I go any further. I just add a little bit in. To the rest. Got a slight pink colour. Okay, back to the burnt umber 280. I got a bit distracted there. Gonna carry on building it up. Then as you get to this lighter bit, you kind of want to like softly just fade it into it. So it's going to take a little while to do all this, but it'll look really good once it's all done. Just bear with it. And let's do this bit. I'm going to blend up from that bit just to create that roundness. Sort of combine it with upwards and downward strokes to create more shape to that part. And then just blend the rest in. Just again, keep an eye on that fur direction because it sort of changes a little bit here. Going to blend a bit to the edge and then blend down. Going to leave it a little bit lighter there and sort of just blend from underneath. Might just add a little bit here. A little bit to break that light part up. Maybe a bit more here. Okay, let's use some burnt sienna 283 and we're going to add some here. It's very red around here and a little bit up there, so that's where I'm going to focus most of this. And you can see a little bit more of like the fur texture around here, so sort of doing slightly longer strokes, I guess. Still not long, but a little bit longer, and I'm leaving a few gaps, so I'm not doing it as dense. Sort of leaving some little gaps between my strokes. Let's add some to that edge. A bit more around here. Let's add some here. Maybe a bit more here. Bit more here. Just switched my battery over. So I'm going to use some of the Walnut Brown 177, slightly different order, but I feel like I do need some of this. So I'm going to add some here. Darken this bit up for definite. And let's do a bit more under the eye. Add a bit more around here. And just gonna add a bit more here. I'm trying to build up a little bit more texture. A bit more there. Bit more around here. Okay, let's add some dark sepia 175. Gonna add a bit around here. And here. Blending it out a little bit and bring it down a touch. And just going to bring a bit through here. I don't want to add too much of this. Add a bit more under the eye. I think we need to add those whiskers in at some eyelashes, whatever they are, in at some point, just to add a bit more detail. I feel like we need quite a bit of this under the eye just to add a bit more depth and like more of a contour in there. A little bit here. Right, I might just add a bit more burnt umber to 80 to try and blend those areas in a little bit more and add a bit more shape. So I'm going to press on harder. Use the very pointy bit of my pencil. Start building that up even more. I'm going to add a bit more to round this section off. Like it's round here, it needs more work, it's looking a bit flat. Bit better already. Let's keep going. That's it, we're trying to like push this area in a little bit more. A bit more around here. Bit more around here. Just keep layering it up until it's looking good. Not even. Need a bit more around there. Definitely a bit more around the eye. You can just sort of keep going and keep darkening it up. Depends how much you feel yours needs. Okay, we're definitely getting there now. Adding a bit more up here. Going to sort of extend this line upwards a bit more again. I feel like we've lost it. and a bit more coming up from that darker part. Bit more around here. Little tiny bit more here. Right, and I might leave it there for that part. I feel like we need to do a bit more and then we can sort of see what needs darkening up, and yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the progress of that today. So I hope you've enjoyed this 7th part. Please make sure to give this video a like if you did, because it really helps the channel out. Subscribe to see more videos and tutorials like this, and I'll see you in the next one. So bye for now and have a lovely day.